Welcome to Release Your Inner Power and Boost Your Week with Ignited Decisions podcast. I'm Shauna B., a life and mindset coach, here to help busy women like you find time, happiness, and ways to fill themselves up in your everyday life. Each week, we dive into real-life challenges, from being a mom to career changes to taking time for yourself, recharging, and personal growth, so you can take action and create this part of your life right now that you truly love. Ready to make this week better than the last? Let's get started. What is up? Welcome back to Release Your Inner Power and Boost Your Week with Ignited Decisions, the show that gives you the motivation, tools, and real talk you need to create a life that you love living. I am Shauna B., and I am so glad that you are here. Today, we're going to dive into a topic, a little something that so many of us struggle with, and that can really keep us stuck. It's called guilt. It's called mom guilt. I know I've talked about it before on my podcast, and we're going to chat about it again because, it's that heavy feeling you get when you do something for yourself, and then that little voice, I like to call my brain dragon, creeps in and says, shouldn't you be with your kids? Or shouldn't you be doing more? Or shouldn't you be doing something else instead of this? Well, today we're going to talk about why it's not only okay to put yourself first sometimes, but why it's necessary for you and your family. Plus, I'm going to be sharing some practical tips to manage that guilt and actually start carving out and making the space and the time for yourself. So take a deep breath and here we go. Let's start by understanding what mom guilt or guilt is. It's that nagging feeling that you're not doing enough. You're not doing enough for your kids. You're not doing enough for your family or your household. It can show up when you decide to go out with friends, take a break, or even when you let the kids have extra screen time for you so you can actually breathe for a second. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. But here's the truth. You're human. You are human. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot run on an empty tank. And when you constantly are putting everyone else first, you end up totally burnt out. You start getting resentful. And then you're totally disconnected. It's like the opposite of what you're trying to do. Be present, be there, do the things, enjoy your life. And we do it all the time. We do it all the time. How many people run from an empty tank? You're like, whoa, hold on. Takes a second to realize I have been doing that. Right? You don't want to be burnout or resentful or disconnected. All of that is like, no, thank you. And you definitely don't want that little voice sneaking in and saying some things of what you should be doing. So it's like shitting all over yourself. No, thank you. Because you can't do that. You can't let that control you, design your life. That's why it's okay and necessary to put yourself first sometimes. We're not saying every day, all the time, all the, whatever. Sometimes. Let's start with sometimes. Now let me flip the script for a second. Think about a well-rested you. An emotionally grounded and full tank. A full cup you. That version of yourself that can show up with so much patience, way more energy, and just more like giddiness and happy and goofiness, playfulness, if you will, right? Taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's investing in you. It's investing in your family. It's investing in everybody's well-being. And guess what? Your kids are watching you. They are learning how to care for themselves by watching how you care for yourself. Would you want them to run themselves into the ground one day because they thought, that's what good moms do. Good moms do that. No way. I don't think so. I guarantee you're like, nope, I don't want my kids to do that. So then what? So then what's next? Let's talk about how to actually manage this guilt so that when it shows up, you can, check that dragon, you can check the guilt at the door, so you can fill yourself up, so you can show your kids how to do this for themselves by them watching you do it. So here are 5 tips, tools, strategies that you can start using right now to check this guilt, to fill yourself up, and to show your kids how to do it too. So when that guilty voice, that brain dragon that I'm talking about, this is number 1. When it pops up, sneaks up on your little shoulder and starts saying some stuff, I want you to pause that voice, interrupt it, and then ask yourself, is this guilt really coming from something that is actually an issue? Is it from an unrealistic expectation? Where is this coming from? Most of the time, it's from an unrealistic expectation. Get really curious about where that guilt is coming from and question it. Don't argue with it, just question it. Okay? The second thing, you don't have to book a big old weekend getaway to take care of yourself. If you can, do it. Do it. I'm all about the recharge trips, okay? But you don't have to book a weekend getaway to take care of yourself. Start out when you're working with this guilt, and it can be heavy and real and like a real thing that you have to work with. We all do, but sometimes it can get really overwhelming and it can be a trigger, like a body response, okay? So if you are having that and you just need to stick a toe in and do something different, what I want you to start with is 10 or 15 minutes a day of just time to yourself. Whether that is taking a walk, whether that is reading, whether that is sitting in silence or going to your room for 10 minutes, but your kids are still in the house. Start with really small stick a toe in steps, so then you can eventually get to the weekend getaway to take care of yourself or your recharge trip, right? Starting with the small ones and being consistent with doing it is going to fill your cup up faster, and it kind of releases that power for yourself to do it more. It builds on itself, okay? It's super, super powerful. Now, the third thing, I'm going to talk about boundaries, the favorite B word, and the challenge to sticking to them. So it's okay to say no. I want to start off with, it's okay to say no. Setting boundaries with your time and your energy is so important. If you need 30 minutes of quiet time after work to like reset, to even be able to, I don't know, mom or do the next thing or whatever, because you have to decompress, communicate it. Say what you need. Say the thing that you need in order to show up the best. If you don't want to volunteer for that school event or join the PTO or go and, do all the classroom activities, it's okay for you to not do that. It's okay for you to say no. Protect the energy that you have for the things that are super important to you, that you value, that you want more of, that fill you up. When you say no to someone else, you are saying yes to yourself. You are protecting your energy. And reminder, you are showing your kids what to do. The fourth thing is blocking out time on your calendar for yourself the way that you would for a doctor's appointment or maybe a school meeting with your children's teacher. Making that a spot on your calendar for you to do, it ends up being more of a non-negotiable. It ends up being more of a, I have to do this. This is what I need to do. And then it becomes a habit the more you practice it, right? Try it out. The fifth thing is reminding yourself that taking care of you is taking care of your kids. It is taking care of your family and everyone else around you. A happier, rested, less snippy, healthier you means better care and better showing up and better memories, your environment really surrounding you, for everyone else. Now, I remember a time when I was super overwhelmed and I was realizing and noticing that I was running on empty and I was being super snappy. We're talking working a full-time job and then all of the after school activities. And then I have to clean all of my, my house. And then something happens. I get injured and everything has to change and it doesn't go the way that it is, or my kid loses their business because they're also tired and they can't handle it and they're totally dysregulated and flipping out. Something like that. When I was being super snippy, I ended up being super snippy. I didn't have the energy. I didn't have, the capacity to stay in a space of where my family needed or what I needed in order to actually parent. And so I'm snipping and snapping at my kids every time they're doing stuff. And I stop for a second. I'm like, hold up. I felt like crap. I felt awful. I felt like a mean mom. I'm over here snippy and snappy because I'm not taking care of me. And now I'm taking it out on them when normally I wouldn't get as irritated about something that they've done. Because you all know we get irritated about some things that our kids do. And is it really them or is it us? Right? It wasn't until I forced myself when I started doing this practice. It was right after my divorce, when I was talking over all. It was right after my divorce. And it wasn't until I forced myself to continue to take these small breaks, to continue to take the time for myself. It started with just a few minutes during the day. I think it was like 10 minutes a day when I started having this time for myself, being, in a quiet space, not doing anything, not cleaning, not doing any to-dos, but just doing something that I wanted to do for 10 minutes. And then doing that more times during the week. And then I started to build out from there, going out to dinner, going out for a girls' night, going out, on a date, any of that kind of stuff, doing something different that was longer and kind of more distance. And it got me all the way up to taking trips for 3 to 4 days off grid. Like there are times when I take trips out into the wilderness where I will backpack out into where there is no cell service, my friend. No cell service. Now that was a whole nother level of beating the mom guilt and being okay with being separated from your kids, right? But being able to do that and complete disconnection and only being with yourself. And when I come back, it is an amazing, amazing, amazing feeling to come back and be able to handle a crazy situation that happens with solid 2 feet, with being able to show up my best self to handle it in the best way that I can, because I filled myself up and overflowed my cup and my tank for what was to come. I even started, getting up earlier and taking 30 minutes to myself to kind of set my foundation up, check in with myself, do my journaling, get my mindset right for the day. And I noticed shifts when I started practicing this and doing this, being more calm, being more present. And honestly, I was having way more fun with my kids when I was with them because of that. It was such a small change that I started with the 10 minutes to myself and working up to those big trips. Doing even the 10 minutes was like such a huge difference, like a small change to make a huge difference on how I showed up. How my kids are going to remember me. Are they going to remember me as the snippy mom that's always tired, that doesn't ever do the things that's no fun? Or do they want to remember the mom that's having fun, making memories, and is like laughing with them? Yeah. Can I have the second version, please? It starts with me. It starts with me doing that, showing them how to do that for themselves, as well as doing it for me. So it's like best for the rest. So if you are struggling with the guilt, with the mom guilt, I want you to remember something here, okay? Taking care of yourself is not a luxury. It's not extra. It is the thing. It is the responsibility. You deserve rest. You deserve the ease, I got this. And your family deserves the best version of you. Your people deserve the best version of you. So start small. Challenge that guilt. Question it. Question that dragon that swoops in and tries to say the things and talks to yourself. Question it. And remember that putting yourself first sometimes, you're showing your kids how to honor themselves when they are released, what I call released into the wild when they're adults. Because they're watching you more than they are listening to you, right? Before we wrap up, I would love it if you would think of one thing that you can do for yourself this week. One thing, just one small thing, and write it down. Not only write it down, but schedule it in your calendar and then commit to it. Keep that promise to yourself. Keep that promise to yourself. And if you need support in doing that, go download my free daily check-in or me time planner on my website. It's designed to help you reset and take control back in your day. It's designed to set that foundation up for you and get in the right headspace to fill yourself up. I'll drop the link in the show notes. Go check it out. It's free and it's on my website, okay? Thank you for spending time with me today. And if this episode spoke to you, share it with another person who's fighting this battle of guilt, who needs this reminder. And if you haven't yet, please leave a review. It helps me reach so much more women like you to help them out with their week, with their day. And I would love it if you would do that. Also, click that button and let me know what you really loved about this episode. Send me a message. I would love to hear from you. Until next time, take care of yourself and make decisions that ignite your best life. See you next week. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I hope you enjoyed the conversation, learned something new, or got some gems to take away that will boost your week. I release a new episode each week, so make sure to click that follow button to not miss what is coming next. If you love the show or want to share a story, send me a quick message. I love hearing from listeners. If you know someone who needs this episode in their life, go ahead and share it with them. I'm sure they would love you for it. If you are looking to connect more, check out the show notes for all the social links, my website. I would love to hear how this episode helped you and what you loved about it. If there's a topic you want to hear about, send that too. All right, ladies, now is the time to release your inner power. If you're ready to break free from burnout and create a life that actually feels good, I've got you covered. You can work with me in a few ways. Join my monthly membership for ongoing support, dive into my workshops for quick breakthroughs, book coaching sessions for personalized guidance, or go all in with my Revive and Recharge Your Life coaching program to build a foundation for lasting change. No matter where you are on your journey, there is a path for you, my friend. Let's get started. DM me or check the link in the show notes to get more information.